Hey guys, Chapter 7, Section 5 video here for you. We are going to talk about how can I apply my knowledge of proportions. So we're going to get more into proportions. We're talking about these a lot. So we're just going to try a problem. We're going to do an example, and our example is going to involve this little triangle. So in your notes, draw a triangle that looks like mine. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be blowing this triangle up and making it bigger. We're going to be enlarging the triangle. So it's identical looking, but just enlarged, just bigger. And what we're going to talk about is what happens when we enlarge a shape. So the little shape is going to have some measurements, 3, 4, and 5. Now I don't know if it's 3, 4, and 5 inches or centimeters, it doesn't say. So we're just going to have to assume that it's some sort of unit, but 3, 4, and 5. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take those numbers and enlarge them by a scale factor. What did we enlarge by? Well, for this example, we're going to times it by 4. We're going to make this triangle 4 times bigger. That means every side has to get 4 times bigger. So like the 3 has to be 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16, and 4 times 5 is 20. So we get a 12, 16, and 20 triangle. That is a scale factor that is 4 times bigger. Now the reverse of this is to shrink the object back down. If you're going to shrink it, then we say that scale factor is the opposite. It would be a 1/4 scale factor, like we're dividing it into a fourth of the shape. So timesing it by a fourth would shrink it, timesing it by 4 would enlarge it. I think I'm going to write that, enlarging and shrinking. And we use this concept for so many things in life. I think you watched a prior video about like building model cars and model trains and model boats. But we also do this just in like general things like making maps. Google Maps is all based on scale factor. Enlarging and shrinking, it's like taking a real life street and shrinking it down to your Google map. Taking a real life store and shrinking it down to a place on your Google Maps. So really like there are so many examples I could come up with that involve scale factor, to be honest. So we're just using like basic shapes to kind of practice. So example 2 is going to involve these two shapes. What's the name of this shape? Do you remember? There's 5 sides on this shape, so we call it a pentagon. And we have a small one and we have a large one. Now the small one has a whole bunch of measurements on it. 6, 8, 8, and 7, and 7. Now again, I don't know if it's inches or centimeters. It doesn't say. But we're going to look at the large one here, and we're going to try to solve for x. Do you see the x? We know the bottom measures 9 units, but we don't know the side, and we're going to figure it out based on the scale factor of what's going on here. So what is it enlarging by? Well, I'm not actually sure, because if I had to multiply 6 to get 9, it's probably a decimal scale factor. It's going to be hard to figure out. But my algebra skill says, okay, let's take the numbers from the shape and build some proportions. So let's make 8 over 6 equal the same thing over here, x over 9. Make them equal to each other. Oh, did I just totally skip through that? Sorry. So let's speed back up to where I was at here. 8 over 6 is equal to x over 9. Okay, so what we're going to do is take that proportion and we're going to put a line down the middle and solve for x using all of our algebra skills. Basically getting x alone. So take that 9, move it over. It's in a fraction, so we know we're going to multiply it on the other side. Times the 9 times 8, that's 72. So we're going to have 72 over 6. And then divide the fraction. So 72 divided by 6. And that's going to be 12. So our answer is x is equal to 12, which means right here on the shape is 12 units long. We figured it out. All right, your turn. You get to try one. So here are your two shapes with some measurements. Your job is to find the x. Go ahead and hit that pause button right now and see if you can solve this problem. Good luck. Okay, you ready to check your answer? Did you finish the problem? Let's see what you did here. So I'm guessing you set up a proportion. 14 over 5 equals 3 over x. Now, I like this proportion. It's a good setup, but I don't really like x being in the denominator. So my plan is to cross multiply. I'm going to do 14 times x and 5 times 3. I'm going to get 14x and I'm going to get 15. And then we got to divide the 14 away. Well, 15 divided by 14 isn't an even number. It's a decimal. It's a really messy decimal, actually. 1.0714, blah, 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 blah. So we'll round it. X is about equal to 1.07. And this problem was in inches. We actually had some units, so I should label that with some inches, and I've got my answer. All right, so that is scale factor, looking at shrinking and enlarging. And I want to continue to remind you, set some proportions up and solve for your variables. Thanks, guys. Bye.